All right, let's dive into module one, which is all about your connection to your mind, your body, and your soul, and what I call wealth consciousness. Now, with wealth consciousness, there are three levels of this when I see it and when I see the connection to it. But first, I want to dive into what wealth consciousness means, right? What is that? What does it mean for you? It's all four levels of our energetic fields. So, our mental, our spiritual, emotional, and physical energies. That to me is wealth consciousness, aka energy, right? Our energy is the most powerful currency on the planet, and your business is a reflection of that energy. So, in the definition of what energy is the strength and vitality required to sustain a physical or mental activity, aka operating in your business, right? But it is also classified as a force, a might, a power, and a strength. So that's internal. So the looking at this energy and wealth consciousness, it's on all levels through our physical, our mental, and our spiritual selves. Okay. What I have also learned about this beautiful wealth consciousness that it is full of beliefs, struggles, self-sabotage, especially when it comes to money. There has been a lot of negative vows, but that have been created unconsciously, generally through childhood, that perhaps have long been forgotten on that conscious level. So, when we're having this mind, body, spirit approach to our wealth, it's more essential than ever that we start looking at this. Because, as you may have noticed, the world around us is shifting. Our global financial systems are changing and breaking, and it kind of represents like an old building. Their structures are collapsing and need to be rebuilt. And honestly, most have been based on a foundation of rules and beliefs and ways of being that are very much outdated. And currently, we are reflecting those. So, I want to invite you today to think of your wealth consciousness as an old building that was created as a little mini city of old structures from these foundations of rules and beliefs and ways you have been operating unconsciously and often corrupted by shame, self doubt, fear, and all those other negative emotions and vows that go with that kind of thing. So, just like your city of old buildings, just like your inner foundations of rules, beliefs, and ways of being, they too must be deconditioned and deconstructed to be able to build a new wealth reality that you are wanting to create that supports your real life purpose. And it's not just imaginary. It's not like, oh, yeah, I want $1 million and, this is how it's going to be. We have to decondition and destructure all of the old stuff in order to create something really new. And it does take practical action. So, during our next call, we are going to do this where I want you to just listen to this concept and get your mind starting to be curious about what is going to show up for you on our next call. Because through all of everything that I've just explained, I want you to look at your wealth consciousness through the lens of your values, your ideas, and your desires that are going to create a wealth picture. Just start to write down those points, just start to get an idea, start to allow your mind to wander and get creative and get really like, oh yeah, that feels good, right? Connect yourself to your mind, connect yourself to your heart, and connect yourself to your soul here, right? I want you to really start to tune in, and this is perfectly aligned for you right now. What is your wealth picture? I want you to start to tune in and think of that big vision that you have, something that you have been creating in your mind's eye. And when we go through this meditation, I'm going to invite you to create a puzzle right? Where you're going to start, and we're going to start getting these juices operating, right? But first, we must tune into your energy and your higher self, because that is the most qualified person to do this work. And that's part of connecting with our soul element, so we can start seeing that bigger picture from that higher self. Your higher mind and your human design contains gold nuggets of wisdom that allow you to operate at your full potential. And it is consistently and constantly revealing the fastest path for you, that is fulfillment, through your images, through those impulses that you receive, aka spirit downloads, the feelings of those desires and how they make you feel. And then on top of that, we've got the universe, right? So now that you have that picture in your mind, or we will have that picture in your mind, I want you to now write this down and get these 3 keys that are going to take us through this picture as we work over the next 6 weeks. Right? So these 3 important keys are your mind, your emotions, and your practical action. Your spirituality will take care of itself through your energetics. Right? And we're going to get there using your intuition and using your energetics. So to build our wealth consciousness and to start moving forward towards your goals and creating those desires and that consistent energy and that consistent income, first and foremost, you really must understand the blocks and resistance that you have. These are partially linked to your emotions and partially linked to those old beliefs, those old structures, those old everything else. I call this false judgment, because this resistance is only false and we give it judgment. Now, false is an acronym for fear, anger, love, sadness, and enjoyment. Because at some point we have come into inner conflict with any one of those: fear, anger, love, sadness, enjoyment, and judgment. Those pieces of those puzzles are going to actually get us to release this resistance. And when you use the healing library, go into the meditations, go into those activations that you really feel drawn to, they will also help. One thing that I can recommend for everybody is to use the energy hygiene module. Go into all 3. Practice, practice, practice your pillar of light. Practice, practice, practice your grounding. Practice, practice, practice everything on getting that energy right. Right? This is the subtle stuff. The second key that will build your wealth consciousness is your set points, your income set points, your worthiness set points, your deservingness set points. This is a really big mindset piece here. So you are wired with an inner set point that indicates how worthy and how deserving you are of money, reward, pleasure, etc., etc. Now, this set point acts like a thermometer to regulate how much you need to maintain to keep the balance of this current level. And you heard me talking about this with the frequency the other day in our intro call, where we're like really expanding our energy, right? So it's not about how you feel right now, because it's a range of how you feel. You don't always feel the same every day. You don't always have the same amount of energy every day. So when you set an intention to go from the current level that we're looking at going to, from where the current level that we're currently at, to way beyond what you believe you are possible, right? Because that's what's coming through your picture. That's what's coming through your wealth consciousness. That is what's coming through your higher self, right? This is where you need to set your intention clearly with your worthiness and your deservingness, and starting to find the ways that you are going to be sabotaging, right? Through your false judgment, we are going to start looking at, and you're going to start recognizing as we work through each module, how you are sabotaging this, right? and how you've created a lot of you've basically offsetted those good feelings into something else. So we're going to restructure and rebalance that through our meditations, through the energy work, through the tapping, and everything else in between. So how can you determine your worthy and deserving set points? I want you to write this down, look objectively at your life and see how or where you're exactly at right now, how worthy and how deserving you currently feel. Because even though the set point has a range, there is a range that I want you to just pay attention to, right? Pay attention to anything on this list that I'm about to give you that feels woefully off balance, a little bit off balance. Even if you're happy with some of these, worthiness will often arise totally unconscious, right? So this is where you get to be conscious and you get to to intuitively go, hang on a second, something's not right. So if one is out of balance, the other areas may need to be restored, or so it's always switching and changing in range, but you're always at a particular set point, right? So this goes similar to what we were talking about the other day in our introduction call with the lotto winners, right? They were unconsciously sabotaging ways to get rid of their money because their worthy and deserving set points was not at $20 million. It might have been at $1 million, but they couldn't hold on to it because they didn't do the emotional work, they didn't do the mindset work, and they didn't do human design, did they? So the list that I want you to write down, and I'm going to give you some prompts and questions that will go with it. Determine your level of set point through your worthy and deservingness. Now, I want you to look at this objectively and not to get too emotional over it. Now, I want you to look at your income and your overall wealth, including your debts. This may be hard. Look at your physical health and how easy it is to maintain. And this, because physical health as a generator is going to really be important for you. How good are you at love and being loved? How successful are you currently feeling? And this is more of the set point is a feeling, right? Try and explain it with a feeling, because your body's likely to respond a little bit easier. So we have income and wealth, including your debts, physical health and how easy that is, how good you are at love and being loved, how you feel around success, how well are you at relaxation and taking active time out for that. How good are you at rewarding yourself? How good are you at pleasing yourself? Right? So I just want you to get your juices flowing here and ask yourself the questions around these things. Okay? How hard must I work for my money? How much should I be earning? How much should I be saving? I'm amplifying some words here, just pay attention. How much relaxation time am I allowed? How much reward and joy am I allowed? And how much ease and pleasure do I allow my body to have? The should, the allowed, and how much are the key words here. This is how we limit ourselves, because we're telling ourselves what that stop point is. How much should I earn? Right? $10,000. Well, your body is telling you that's your set point. $10,000 is what you should be earning. How hard must I work for my money? Here, we're looking at how hard have I got to get this? How tiring has it got to be? Where are the rewards? Where is the pleasure? Where is the relaxation in this? Do you allow yourself to do this? Right? And how much ease does it feel? Right? taking stock of all of this will give you a really good set point. And we will be working together on this through our one-on-one time. The third part is applying the human design to every single aspect of your life where possible. Right? This is the practical action step. And applying to it to all parts of your life, I'm including the small things. I want you to include the small things. This is why we celebrate. Because most people get stuck using their human design or the law of attraction or the manifestation or whatever you want to call it, because they jump in and they try and apply it to all of their biggest challenges, all of their biggest desires. And while we are working on those through Ignite, right, the magic of all of this lies in those little day-to-day things. 1%, one thing. Focus. So, for instance, when I tell sacral generators that they need to do something to, what they need to do to call in more money is to do what lights them up. And often they will tell me, but nothing lights me up that will make money. And I hear you, because I used to kind of believe the same thing, because I didn't think that Oracle cards, going free live every week was going to make me some money, but it kind of does. I shouldn't say kinda. I'm I'm reading the energy of like, of course it does. Who would have thought differently? I did for a while. But what I'm asking is, what lights you up right now in this moment? Doesn't mean going to yoga, right? These small things. Doesn't mean going to yoga. Doesn't mean having a cup of tea right now. Does it look like going and for a walk? Does it look like taking a nap, right? The things that light you up are the things that will get your vibration up, the things that will ground you. These really small energetic hygienic pieces, going back to that energy hygiene course, where regular self-care, the little things, will actually make you more aligned quicker than you could possibly imagine. So through COVID, we were allowed to, or just before COVID, I can't really remember now, but I remember that I used to go and get Bowen and Reiki every single week. Every single week. Now it's become for me a maintenance where I go sometimes every week, sometimes every second week, but I'm really starting to listen to my body. But that regular self-care now looks like, for me, going to Bowen, going to yoga, spending time with my friends. All of these things make me feel good, light me up, right? Just like going and doing my live videos, that lights me up too. But these little things will create alignment. So whatever you need to learn about your design when it comes to looking at what lights you up as sacral generators, this is what you need to do, and apply it to those little things, and know, right? This is the hardest piece, know that it is enough, right? I call these glimmers, and I've explained this before, that your life is made up of little moments. And when you live in those moments and in alignment with those moments, they add up to create more and more and more, and it becomes a ripple effect, right? And it starts with you. If you start to neglect these little moments, don't celebrate, don't get gratitude, and only focus on these challenges, these problems, these really big things, basically you're putting a band-aid on a wound without cleaning it, because it's going to fester. So instead of focusing on those big things that you're trying to sort of, heal all at once, focus on one small, simple application of your design. And we have been talking about this, right? Knowing your strategy, knowing your type, and knowing your authority. That is how it gets to be easy. This is the human design aspect. This is intelligence of your soul, right? This is your intuition speaking here. This is the work that will take place over the next 6 weeks. You're going to get connected with your inner wisdom, your higher self, your sacral chakra, right? This has been one of the most proven and powerful ways to unlock and magnify your hidden potential. but you have to first start activating it and working with it. And the biggest first decision you're going to have to make is your commitment. Committing to it is where your alignment begins. Now, we're going to go next into those 5 disciplines of a new vibration that is going to start getting that mind, body, and spirit connection working in a very aligned way. So, I talked about the first thing that you need is commitment. And this commitment is to regularly observe and catch yourself in the act of falling into those old patterns, falling into those limitations of what you think you can, can't do, or the battle that you're having with yourself. Become consciously aware of these habits and how you think about your business and how the endless opportunities that are available to you aren't so far away, right? Because as you start to catch these, as you start to observe these, you will be able to take charge very quickly and let go of all of those old things that control you, that sabotage you, that stop you from getting where you need to go. And every single day, you're going to be asked to recommit because there are going to be hard days where you just want to give it all up. And you're going to have to recommit. You're going to have to find that strength within you and keep swimming, right? First step. The second step of this discipline that we're going to create when it comes to creating this new wealth, this new vibration, is showing up with a very, very clear intention, being more consciously engaged and really starting to amp up your vibration, making an effort to go all in each time. And when you catch yourself in the not so much all in as yourself, recommit by asking this question: how badly do I want this? And then I want you to re-energize, regenerate that passion, jump up and down, shout it, I want it, I want it. To take yourself off and have a little tantrum, go dance. But my point here is to be present, right? Because the more energized, the more engaged, the more high vibe you become, the easier this will be to show up with a very clear intention and get it done, right? Because that's when the clients will start coming. That's when the money will start coming. That's when the opportunities will start coming, because you are in a higher vibration and you know how badly you want this and you will make it happen, which is why we go into step 3, which is that action. So we're committing and showing up, right, with a very clear intention to take action and do the things that we are required to do. Procrastination is its finest self-sabotage. I've been there, done that, and I still do it. I still really do it. But when I catch myself out, I have to revibe, to recommit. I've got to do this. It's got to be done. When you do, you'll start to create momentum, right? When you start catching yourself, recommitting, when you re-energize and then take the action, it's going to involve some figuring out. It's going to be involving making a plan, putting it into place, right? It's creating a habit, putting it into your calendar, penciling in the action, creating some sort of self-imposed deadline that is going to help you take the action. It's going to help you create the momentum, and it's going to help you recommit. Because when you seem to commit to a timeline, and I used to do this all the time in my job, I used to procrastinate calling cold calls. I hated doing cold calls, right? And so I was just procrastinating big time. I would never do it, right? The resistance was real. But what I actually had to do was create a timeline. And we were held up on KPIs. So we had certain KPIs of cold calls that we had to do per month. And I would procrastinate and would procrastinate and I would procrastinate until like 2 days before the deadline that we were allowed to do it, which was generally the end of the month. So today being the 28th is quite funny. Right. And I would just then go, right, I've got to do this. I'm going to take the action. And I'd get myself all high fived and I would just go and do it. I don't recommend, it's not a fun energy to be in, right? So commit to a timeline, put it in the group chat, put it in the conversations, give it to somebody to hold you accountable for, right? because then you won't feel like you're doing it on your own. And when I used to work with my colleague at the time, we used to be like, right, doing 5 calls, and then you're doing 5 calls, and I'll make tea, and we'll just, right? We made ourselves accountable for the time that we were doing this, even though we procrastinated on it, we actually had fun doing it. But the point here is most people resist committing. Most people will resist to raising their vibration and then taking action, because it can feel like a bit like you're reporting to a boss, right? We're reporting to a timeline. But I want you to see this from the perspective of, this is my goal. And how badly do I want it? I want it now. So this will help you very much stay on track, focused, and resolute about the action that you are taking. Okay. The fourth discipline that I really want you to get in frame of is that CEO mindset. Take a minute to review all your plans, all your goals for the next 6 months, 1 month, 2 weeks. I don't care what timeline you have on this. And then I'm going to invite you to do something that seems really counterintuitive here. But take a minute to review all those plans. And then I want you to give yourself permission to not accomplish any of them, not do anything. Forget about the whole thing. Like, no, don't even worry about it. Forget it. Give yourself permission to walk away and just keep your life as it is right now. And stay in that exact same position of those famines where I should'ves and how much's and I would'ves and I could'ves and I'm trying, right? But if you're going to give yourself permission to do this, do not take this lightly. But putting it simply like this is that you don't have to choose to do anything that I'm asking you to do or sharing with you, right? Because I know that the reason is, right, when you're looking at all of this, it would be so much easier to not bother. But the minute you tell yourself that you have to do something, you lose all power and become a slave to your goal. Because you just decided that it has to happen, right? And this sounds counterintuitive. I told you to give yourself a timeline, but you don't have to do any of it, right? So don't take this decision lightly if you're going to choose to not bother, right? But the true choice comes down to here, and being a CEO is going to make you step up and make you make decisions that you might not like. But the true choice is knowing that you don't have to do something, but yet you are choosing it anyway. And this is called consciously committing and choosing. The big caveat here is when you decide to choose consciously, you must give up complaining. And it's hard. But you must accept everything that comes out with you because you have made this choice. You're choosing the extra work. You're choosing this new self-discipline. You're choosing the sacrifices, and so on and so on and so on. It means you can't complain about them at all because this is called total responsibility. So when you're in your CEO mind, know that you don't have to do something, but yet you are choosing it anyway, right? And you're recommitting and you're taking the action and you're working towards that goal. And the last one is trust, right? This is the discipline that I find is probably the easiest for me, but the hardest for my clients, because they don't trust themselves enough, right? But I want you to trust yourself that you shine both light and dark. And yes, there will be moments of fear, anger, frustration. There will be perhaps even moments of lost faith, right? And why? Because you are fucking human. You are experimenting, you are testing, you are evolving your DNA, and you will always have the light and the dark. You will always look at it from the light of laziness versus achievement, or greed versus generosity, or stupidity versus brilliance, fear versus courage. There is always the polarity of these two. You can be lazy, but you can be achieving. You can be greedy, but you can be generous. Right? You can be stupid and you can be brilliant. God knows I don't know how many times I've been stupid, but brilliant all at once. And of course, we all have fear. We all have that courage to overcome it. When you walk around with this acceptance and this conscious knowledge that you are both, and that you are human, and that you are trying, you are sort of testing and experimenting with life, and you are making this happen because you want it so badly, this is where you become unstoppable. This is where you start to ignite that flame that is in you, that deep truth that is your knowledge of your soul, of yourself, right? Free yourself from hiding your flaws. Free yourself from it. This is where authenticity starts to show up. This is where all the fears start to show up. It's like, I'm not good enough. I can't do it. Just think about it. Just pay attention. Be the observer. Now, lastly, start allowing all of this to show up in your life in a practical way. Right? Show me the best course of action. Send that message out to the universe. Right? It's probably the easiest practical tip that I can give you now, that show me my best course of action. Pull a card, go for a walk, ask for a sign, whatever that looks like. Spirit, allow the universe to literally show you the way. This is how you generate trust with the universe. This is how you develop your intuition. Allow yourself and allow them to show you, right? It's part of this surrendering process that we have to go through. It's part of us opening ourselves up to the possibilities, not just from our mind, right? Because this is what we're conditioned to believe, that all of our mind is what controls us, right? That deconditioning of those beliefs. Starting to write down what's working for me, what isn't working for me, what nudges am I getting from the universe. Show me how I can use those to create my best course of action. Just let that sink in, right? Because to me, that there is no one way of running your business. There is no one way to market and sell yourself either, or sell your business. Any goddamn strategy can work. All of the strategies will work, right? Think of a diet, and you go from eating, you don't just go from not eating well, right? When you're changing your diet and to focusing on eating well, you're probably going to do better than that when you're focusing on not eating well, because you're consciously deciding. It doesn't matter whether you choose to go vegetarian, whether you choose to go keto, who cares? It's whatever you are focusing on, you are improving, right? So you're not eating so well, and now you're eating better, and now you're eating better, and now you're eating better. And it is the same for your business. At the end of the day, the things that we do in our business have to work for us, right? It has to work for us energetically. Just another short story is, I remember a coach who asked me to make sure that I got 4 calls a week in order to turn those over, right? And I was exhausted, constantly going out there, doing this, doing that, right? I got rid of that coach real quick because I was burning out. And now I learned that a long time ago, is that I do everything that energetically makes me feel good. That works for me energetically. I'm busy. I have a lot of things on the go, but everything works for me really well. It feels really easy. I'm happy to do it. I'm actually living pretty good life, and because I'm doing it. And there's nothing that I have committed to where I'm like, oh, I have to do this today. Oh my God, I've got so many calls today. None of that. I get none of that. And I'm very conscious because I refuse to allow myself to burn out. I will not allow myself to get that run down again, right? That a business is going to deplete me, because currently, the way things are, everything is working. So I just wanted to tell you that there is no one way to run your business. There is no way to run your marketing and setting up your offers. If you think you can do it, you can do it, right? If the universe is giving you that message, then follow it. Trust that nudge that you are getting, right? Because we are a collective consciousness, and the universe is always giving information to multiple people at multiple times. It's whether they take the action on it, right? So use those examples, use your CEO mind, and go and decide. Make a decision and go with it. Whether it works or whether it doesn't, it's an experiment. It's a lesson for you. Because we have this really weird perception that we're supposed to have these things that happen hard, right? Allow it to feel easy. We always try and make things harder than they really are. But I want you to tune in and just allow yourself to make it go easy. When we are doing the things that are natural to us, everything seems easy. And so when you're following your alignment, that's going to be easy. When you're following your path, when you're following your response, your authority, your strategy, it's going to be easy, right? It's going to be easy to show up. It's going to be easy to do 1,000 things. It's going to be easy, right? And I choose all of these things because it makes me feel good. It makes it easy. I like the way I run things. And I want you to get into this energy. I want you to get into this, like, I can do this too, right? Because I'm here to build a business that is easy. It's here for the long term. I want a loyal audience. I want them to be able to buy and know that I'm here and not gone tomorrow, right? And if it feels easy, I'm going to keep doing it. If it starts to feel hard, I'm going to stop, and then I'm going to disappear off the face of the planet. Not necessarily the face of the planet, but you see where I'm getting at here, right? The only way that you can create something that is sustainable is what sustains you. So ask yourself, how are you showing up right now? Does it feel easy? Is it hard? Do I need to outsource it? Do I need to send it anywhere? Right? So let me know how this was for you. Let me know if this sparked something in you. We will connect on our call on our next call. And just, I'd love to hear from you how this resonated. If you have any questions, and put this in the group chat. Put a 4-leaf clover in the group chat to let me know that you have listened, or leave a comment or something like that, and just respond to it. That would be super amazing. So 5 disciplines, all of the things. Enjoy your week, and I will catch you on our next call. Bye for now.